Greetings, fellow grade 11s. It's Mr. Shatrao here. Welcome to Basics. Back to Basics. We are saying now today we are going to be looking at inequalities. Now, what are inequalities basically? Now, when looking at inequalities, now we are going to be basically looking at values that will be dealing with either your greater sign, or we are going to be dealing with your lesser than sign, or your greater or equals to sign, or your lesser or equals to sign. Okay. So basically, that's what we are going to be dealing with. Now, conceptually, let's say I give you this. Now, let's say for an example, you are having something that is, let's say you are having ax squared, which is going to be greater than 0. Now, anything that is going to be ax squared and that is going to be greater than 0. Now, we are saying now in this case, for an example, if let's say we are going to represent this in terms of our what? In terms of our diagram, right? Now we are saying anything that is greater than 0, your graph is going to be looking at concave up. Okay. And any values that will be greater than 0, right? Any values that will be greater than 0 will be starting from here, moving in this direction, starting from here, moving in this direction. So what does this mean? Basically, which means if you're having your A as positive and you're having greater than 0, which means now when you are drawing, let's say you draw your number line, and you are going to have an open cast circles that is going to be looking in this direction. Altogether, this is going to be your first value of x, and this is going to be your second value of x, right? Now, let's say we look at another criteria. Let's say now we get something else. Let's say now in this one, let's say now you're having ax squared, which is lesser than what? Lesser than 0. Now, when you're looking at that, now for an example, we are saying if let's say you are plotting your graph, anything that is going to be like this is still going to be your smiling face graph, right? This is still going to be your smiling face graph, right? And now anything that is going to be lesser than 0, you're going to be dealing with some things that are going to be in this lower part, right? Are in this lower part, right? So now if you are dealing with things or values that are going to be in those lower part, you are going to say now these are going to be values that are going to be between this first x value here and this second x value, which means now what is it that you're going to have here? Now this is going to be same as what? This is going to be same as your open cast circle. This arrow is going to be looking in this direction. I want to get it's going to be looking in this direction. Here you are going to be having your x1, and here you're going to be having your x2, right? Now, while we are still having this analogy, now, or rather this conceptual framework, now let me give you something. Let's say now, for an example, I give you this. Let's say A. Now, for your sum A, let's say you are having your sum A here. Now, your sum A, what is it that you are given? You are given that you're having x squared, which is going to be what? X squared, which is greater than 4. Now, what is it that you are going to do here? We are saying now, firstly, what you're going to have here, this is going to be same as x squared, subtract your what? Subtract your 4, which is going to be greater than 0, right? You take this 4 on this side, and then you're going to what? You're going to obviously open your two brackets. This is going to be greater than 0. You're going to have x here, and the factors of 4, it's going to be what? 2 and 2, the other one being positive, the other one being negative. So which means what will happen here? Basically, we are saying this is going to be same as, now you're going to have the critical values of x, right? Now, when we are saying critical values, we are saying the values of x is what? Is going to be equals to, remember, when you equate this to 0, it's going to be same as x is equals to -2, or x is equals to what? X is equals to 2. But these are not the values, right? Now, these are just critical values because you need to come back to your number line, right? You need to come back to your number line and then represent these things, right? Now, when you're representing this thing, what is going to be the first value? It's going to be -2, and the other one is going to be 2. Now, we are saying anything or any value. So basically here we are saying any value that you are going to substitute in this equation, that is going to give us a value that is going to be greater than 0. It's going to be a value that is starting from what? For an example, if you can come in this equation and substitute, let's say, your -3. Now, you are going to say -3 squared, subtract 4, and now greater than 0, and see what is it that you are going to get, and see the answer that you are going to get. Now, this is going to be same as 9 subtract 4, which is going to be same as what? 9 subtract 4 gives you what? 9 subtract 4 gives you your what? Gives you your 5, which means 5 indeed is greater than 0, which means the graph here, if you are having your open cast circle, right? Now, this is going to be continuous, moving in this direction. Similarly, now let's say we are getting a value now that is in between -2 and 2. Now that one will be, let's say you get your 1. Let's say we say 1 squared subtract 4 is greater than 0. Can you see this is going to be same as 1 subtract 4, which is -3? Can you see that -3 is not greater than 0? Is not greater than 0, right? So which means now we are not looking for this value. However, let's say we take out your 3. When you say 3 squared subtract your 4 greater than 0, is the value that we are having here greater than 0? Yes, because this is same as 9 subtract 4 greater than 0, which means indeed you're going to have 5, and 5 is greater than 0. So which means starting from here, moving in this direction, this is going to be another value of ours that is going to be greater than 0. Out again. So this is what I was basically talking about now, right? And now that you have that, then you're going to come back and do what? Now you're going to come back and write down now in this thing, in what? In inequality form. So what does this mean? They are saying here in this inequality here, they are saying now values that are going to be give us in this expression, rather, the values that can be greater, or rather can give us a positive value, it's going to be values starting from -3, -4, -5, right? Which means your x here, what? Your x here must be what? Your x here must be less than -2. Or in this case, your x here must be greater than what? Greater than 2, because values that are giving us anything that is above 0 is going to be values that are greater than 2. Out again. So basically, this is how we are going to do this one, right? Now, let's just make up our space now and do more and more of these questions now. Now that we at least have a, an understanding or a conceptual framework of what we are referring to. Now, let's just get more and more examples on these, right? Let's just get more and more examples on this. Now, let's say for an example here, let's say now we are given that you are having what? Now, let's say now I come back and I give you that you are having your x, let's say it's x squared. Let's say we are having x squared greater than what? Greater than 5x. Let's say this is 5x, subtract 4. What is it that you are going to do? Now, firstly, you're going to write this in standard form. So this is going to be x squared subtract 5x minus what? Oh, this is subtract 5x plus 4. Is going to be what? Is going to be greater than 0. Now, when you're from here, now you're going to open your two brackets. This is greater than 0. So you're going to have your x here, you're going to have your x here, and factors that can give us 5, it's going to be 4 and 1. Right? When both are negative, they can give us -5. So which means your x, now you're going to say the critical values of your x is going to what? Your critical values of your x is going to be where your x, now remember this, you equate it to 0. This is going to be where x is equals to 1, or when your x is equals to 4. And now that you're having that, now you're going to come back here and do what? And draw your number line. Obviously, your number line is going to start with 1 and what? And 1 with 4. Now, we are saying any values that are going to give us something that is greater than 0, this is going to be when starting from 1, moving in this direction, right? Starting from 1, moving in this direction, and any values that are going to give us a value that is greater than 0, it's going to be starting from 4, greater than 4. I want to get, and remember there is basically there's a criteria for this shading. Now, if this circle of ours is shaded, which means you have an inclusion sign. But if this is not shaded, which means there is no inclusion sign. How to get? Right? So which means now when you write this, now we are going to say, now at the end, your x, now your x value is going to be what? Now your x here is going to be what? Less than 1, or the value of your x here, it's going to be, your x is going to be greater than 4. How to get it? Because looking at these arrow, it's going to be having greater. Can you see that this one is giving you values that are less? How to get? So basically, this is going to be the first one. Now, let's say we look at this next one. Now, let's say now in this case, I give you that you are having x squared plus x squared plus your x, then this is less than 6. How are you going to do that? This one is going to be same as what? Obviously, you're going to write this in standard form firstly, which means this is going to be x squared plus your x minus 6. This is going to be less than 0. Then you open your two brackets. You open your two brackets. This is still less than 0. You're going to have your x here. You're going to have your x here. Now, for the 6, factors of 6 that can give us 1, it's same as 2 and 3. Right? So which means this must be what? This must be +3, and this is going to be -3. So which means now you are going to say, now what are going to be the critical values of x? The critical values of x is going to be when x is equals to 2, or it's going to be when x is equals to what? When x is equals to -3. Remember, I just equated the what? The x minus 2 with 0, and also the x plus 3 with 0, so that I can get my critical values. Now that I have my critical values, then I will come back. I will draw my number line, right? Obviously, it's going to start with -3, and then it's going to end with 2. Now, look, this here is still only lesser than, which means you're going to have an open car circle, right? This is going to be an open car circle. And in this case, the values that are going to give us values that are less than 0, it's going to be when this is coming this way, right? It's going to be when this arrow basically is looking at this way, right? And obviously, when the arrow, they are looking at each other, you are going to have your x, which is going to be in between what? Your x value here is going to be in between -3 and also your 2 altogether. So basically, that is going to be what you do in terms of that particular question, right? Now, let's say now we look at something else. Let's say now I get you another examples. Let's say I get another examples for you so that you can get in terms of what is it that we do here. Let me just look for other questions for you. Yes, 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 right? Now from here, what is it that you're going to have? Now, let's say now in this case, I give you this. So let's say now we are having what? We are having 2x squared. This is 2x squared plus 5x. Let's say this is 2x squared plus 5x is greater or equals to 3. Let's make this to be 3, greater or equals to 3. All right. Now let's see in terms of what is that. This is greater or equals to 3. What is the first thing that you're going to do? You are obviously going to say this is same as 2x squared plus 5x. Then when you take the 3 this side, it's going to be -3 is greater or equals to what? Or greater or equals to 0. Then you do what? Then you open your two brackets. You open your two brackets, greater or equals to 0. Now this is going to be same as your 2x. This is going to be same as your x. Remember, you're factorizing this. And the factors that can give us 5 here, it's going to be what? Here, when here, it's what? When it's your 3 here, when it's your 1 here, because when you say 2 multiplied by 3, it's going to give you 6, and then 6 subtract 1 is going to be 5, right? So which means this must be positive and this must be negative. Okay. And now from here, what else are you then going to do from here? This is going to be same as what? Now we are going to say, what are going to be your critical values of x? Now the critical values of x, look, you get the critical values of x when you say 2x subtract 1 is equals to 0. Or when you say x plus 3 is equals to 0. Because I know most of you are thinking in terms of why are we getting these critical values? Now, these critical values are not your answers per se, because your answers must be in inequality form, right? So which means this is going to be same as what? From here, you are going to say when you transpose that, which means your x is going to be same as 1 over 2, or your x is going to be same as what? Your x is going to be same as your -3. But remember, these are still your critical values. Now, after that, now you're going to come back, and then you're going to do your what? You're going to do your number line, right? And when doing your number line, what is it that you're going to do? Obviously, you're going to start with -3, and you're going to have 1 over 2. We are saying values that are going to give us something that is greater than 0. It's going to be values when you start from here. Any value that is starting from -3. Remember, there's an inclusion sign, which means now your circles here must be shaded, right? Meaning that there is an inclusion sign, right? So which means this is going to be moving in this direction, right? This is going to be moving in this direction. Look at me, look at me, look at me, right? This is going to be moving in this direction, or this one is going to be moving in this direction. Once again, so basically that is going to be that. And now, what does this mean? Basically, when you interpret this, we are saying this is going to be when x is less than -3, because starting from -3, moving this way is going to be less, right? Lesser or equals to -3. Oh, here it's going to be when x is greater or equals to 1 over 2. Those are going to be the values that are going to give you what? Something that is greater than what? Something that is greater than 0. Out again. Now, basically, that is going to be that. Now, let's get another question so that you are in a position that you understand this thing, right? Now, let me just get you, let's say, one last example on this one so that now you can understand what is it that you are required here. Now, let's get this one. Let's say now you are having x plus, let's say you are having x plus 1, and then you're also having x plus 2. They say this is going to be greater or equals to what? Greater or equals to 20. Now, this one, now what is it that you're going to do here? The first thing that you're going to do, now you're going to distribute this. Now, how can you distribute this. This is going to be same as x multiplied by x, which is going to what? X squared. Now this is x multiplied by 2x is going to be rather 2x. This is x multiplied by 2, which is 2x. Then you're going to say 1 multiplied by x is going to be plus x. The last one is going to be plus 2, right? 1 multiplied by 2 is going to be plus 2 greater or equals to 20. Then from here, this is same as x squared plus 3x. Then when you come back here, when you take the 20 this side, right? Let's say we take back the 20, right? When you take back the 20, this is going to be same as plus 2 minus 20 is greater or equals to 0. Then what is this? This is x squared plus 3x minus what? When you say this is going to be same as your what? Negative 18, right? Negative 18 greater or equals to 0. Then now from here, what is it that you're going to have? You're going to have your two brackets obviously open. Then you're going to look for the factors of 18 that can give you 3. So this is going to be x, and factors of 18 that can give you 3. It's going to be 3 and also your 6, right? Now, because you're looking for positive 3, this is going to be plus 3 minus 3, which means now you're going to come back and look for your critical values of x. It's going to be when your x is equals to 3, or when your x is equals to what? Where your x is equals to negative 6. Then from now on here, you are going to come back and do what? You're going to write your number line. Now your number line is going to start from negative 6 up until 3. Now remember, we are saying values that are greater than 0, that will give you values that are greater than 0. It's going to be starting from here. Remember, you shade this, moving in this direction. You also shade this, moving in that direction. How to get? So what does that mean? Basically, this means when your x is less than negative 6, or when your x is greater than what? When your x is greater than 2. Basically, that is going to be that solution. Now, let me just get you one last thing, then we are done with this. Let me just get you one example here on this, then we are going to be done with that, right? Now, let's see. So let's get another example here, right? Let's say we get another example here. What is it that you're going to have? Now, let's say now in this case, let's say we are having this. Let's say now, yes, let's say you are having 10. Let's say you are having, this is same as what? Let's say this is 10x, or rather this is 10. Let's say this is 10 plus x, 10 plus x. This is greater or equals to what? Greater or equals to 2x squared, right? Now, what is it that you're going to do now here? Now, let's say you want to write this in standard form. And then you take this 2x squared this side. This is going to be same as negative 2x squared plus x plus 10 is greater, or rather, it's going to be greater or equals to 0, right? Now, the next thing is we want to multiply by negative 2, or rather by negative 1 everywhere, so that the negative 1 of our coefficient changes here, right? So when you multiply everything by negative 1, what will happen? This is going to be same as 2x squared, and what? 2x squared minus x minus 10. But now, whenever you multiply with negative 1, the sign now is going to change and look at this other side, which means now all your values are the inequality sign is going to be looking at this side, right? So which means this is going to be like this. Then now you come back, you open your two bracket. This is greater or equals to 0. This is same as 2x. This is same as your x. Now what is going to be your 10? Now your 10 is going to be given by what? The values or the factors of 10 that can give us your negative x is going to be what? Now this is going to be same as what? This is going to be same as your 5 and also your 2. Once again, now let's say here you're having your 5 here, and here you're having your 2, because 4 multiplied by this is going to give you negative 4, and then this is going to be positive 5. So which means this is going to be negative here, this is going to be positive here, right? Now, then you are going to come back and find out the critical values of x. What are going to be the critical values of x? This is going to be when 2x subtract 5 is equals to 0, or when x plus 2 is equals to 0, which means this is going to be what? This is going to be when x is equals to 5 over 2, or when x is equals to negative 2. Now, these are going to be your critical values. Now, then you're going to come back here, right? You are going to come back here and say, now this is going to be same as your negative 2, and also your what? Your 5 over 2. And then after that, what is it that you're going to do? Now, remember, this is going to be less or equals sign. So this is going to be a shaded circle, right? This is going to be a shaded circle, which means now the values that will give you something that is less than 0. It's going to be when your your inequality signs are moving in this format, right? How to get when they are approaching each other, or rather when it's going to be basically values that can give you values that are less than 0. It's going to be values that are in between -2 and 5/2. So which means from here your x is going to be what? Your x is going to be in between -2 and also what? And also your 5/2, right? So basically, now this is going to be how you do these types of questions. I want to get now. Hopefully, this makes sense to you, and hopefully now I've done enough questions so that you can follow on these things. Thank you very much.